huge announcement today. The SOS VHS channel is gonna be rebranded. We're gonna turn it into the Zemeckis Hub channel. Like we promised back in December, we've been working hard to bring new shows into the Zemeckis family. More exciting news. SOS VHS is going back to a weekly schedule, now on Tuesdays. And I'm gonna be handing my hosting duties to Carlos and the team because I've been prepping for a long time this marathon, this swimming marathon to get off this island. Tired of the sun. I have lots of things I want to see. I want to eat again, other things than fish and coconuts. So, if I survive, I'll come back and say hi here and there. But it's going to be so much fun. You guys are going to have SOS every week now on Tuesdays. And I'll see you guys soon on the other side.
He's gone.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to make it.
This show is sponsored by BetterHelp.
Get it off your chest with BetterHelp.
Visit betterhelp.com/SOSVHS today to get 10% off your first month.
That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/SOSVHS.
So this is a great movie. Castaway is a great movie for our last episode together.
Mm-hmm. Because it's all white people?
Because it happens on an island.
Oh, okay.
Someone is stranded on an island,
I see.
Do you remember when you saw this movie?
I think I saw it with like my parents and my sister. Yeah.
Yeah, I was in college and I remember perfectly when I saw this movie.
What year is it? 2001?
2000.
2000. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't like the poster. I remember thinking the poster's not great.
I agree. Even today, when you go buy it online, the poster doesn't stand out. It's like a different time. I guess with just saying Tom Hanks was enough back then.
That's a good call. Like, why put all your resources into a cool poster?
Right, but it's true because in 1994, Tom Hanks wins an Oscar for Forrest Gump, right?
Mm-hmm.
And same director, Robert Zemeckis, who I love because of Back to the Future.
Exactly.
And then I think at that time they start talking about, Tom Hanks wanted to do a movie about him stranded on an island.
Really?
So they start talking about, okay, that's a cool concept, but what happens,
Yeah.
So
Tom Hanks is a producer on Castaway.
Yeah,
Oh, he is?
he's a producer.
Yeah.
Because he's
To make
kind of
more
like
money.
his concept. No, his concept. He was the person who was behind that. He hired the writer of Apollo 13, who he had worked with also in this time of Tom Hanks in the 90s is killing it.
Of course.
And he was nominated for Apollo 13 for best screenplay.
Is he married at this point to what's her name? Rita Wilson? I love her.
I mean, I don't know because I think his first wife dies, right? And I'm not super sure of what his personal life is.
If your first wife dies and it's not you that did it, it's like such a getting away with like.
That's an interesting point of view, Carlos. Tell me more.
I always thought that I was like, do
you think he got the insurance money?
No, it's not even about that.
He didn't have to even do anything.
It's not even about money. It's about like freedom and sympathy, getting attention.
I see.
Yeah.
Do you think, maybe he got the Oscar at that time.
No, I'm just talking about other girls.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, that's more what it's about, not the Oscar.
I see.
Okay,
I see where your
we
mind
can move
is at.
on.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, this would be a nightmare for you, stranded on an island by yourself, well, for everyone, but no girls on this island.
What would you do
only
with Wilson?
coconuts.
I can only imagine which.
Only coconuts, which.
That'd
can
be
only
funny.
imagine what you and Wilson would get up to, Carlos.
I would use the coconut.
Yeah, I would think so.
I would just put holes everywhere. You know what I would do? My weird fantasy because it's like something I've always thought of. It's like, what if you just like start having sex with the sand?
What? And you would probably figure out because it's 4 years on this island. It's a long time,
That's true. I would have never done my own dentistry work.
Right.
No.
Absolutely not. That also is like the chances of that working. I think that's the only far-fetched moment because the writer. I forgot his name. Let me.
Broyles.
Yes,
William Broyles.
I have him here. Yeah, William Broyles. So the writer embarked on this process of like, hey, I want to make a movie about a man stranded on an island, a modern man, someone like that would happen in modern times.
Yeah.
but he had no idea how to make a plot out of it. So what he did is he hired different survivalists, historians, people who would, survive in different areas.
Yeah.
And he himself experienced the things that Tom Hanks experienced in the movie.
Oh, wow.
So how do I get shelter? How do I get water? And a lot of those scenes, including Wilson, are things that happen during this process of him with these people figuring out how would we survive.
Wow.
The making fire, all of that stuff. I think the only thing they came out, that didn't happen to them is the ice skate too thin. But I thought it was a great process. I think the movie, since today's our last day, we can go more in movie structure talk because I think it's a perfect, 3-act structure script, right? We have the normal life, the intro to his regular life.
I hated that dinner. Was it Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving.
I hated it. The old ladies.
Does it remind you of your own dinner party?
No, not at all. It doesn't look. It looked like hell to me. Just all the old women. They just look so annoying. Everyone talking about a job like FedEx. Are you kidding me? That's insane.
Also, I thought, even when I saw it for the first time, it's is this an ad for FedEx?
Oh, yeah, of course.
It's but it makes sense, the type of character that Tom Hanks is.
Do you think they get money?
I think so.
They didn't get money, but I heard FedEx employment went up 30%. That people submissions.
That's crazy.
They had to have had some sort of agreement because it's a plot point. It's not even it's not product placement. It's not something in the background. They talk about it. You see the logo.
Yeah.
And so wait a second. We're going back to the third 3-act structure, right? So you have the first part of the movie, which is his life, his normal life. He has action. Then he gets in the island and has the second act in the island. And then he escapes the island and go back to his life. Now it's not normal life, act 3, right? It's such a clear...
It's so easy
it's
to
so
do. Yeah.
Easy
it looks easy.
Yeah, I'm saying it's the grammar is very clear. And also the movie it's a diptych. It's it's a 2-part. There's a 4-year time jump. So that second act is divided in 2 parts.
Exactly.
When he first gets to the island until he becomes an expert in survivalist. And in between, actually, a fun fact. So in order to keep the full crew for a year, so they shot at the beginning of 1999 and at the end of 1999, the movie. So the 6-7 months in between where Tom Hanks had to lose all that weight and get in shape, Robert Zemeckis shot another movie with the same crew.
Oh, so they were all it was an easy transition. What movie?
It's called What Lies Beneath with Michelle Pfeiffer and
Harrison Ford.
Indiana Jones, and Harrison Ford.
I remember that movie.
Yeah, and both movies got released in 2000.
That's wild.
I guess it was a big year for him. But so I think also character-wise, a movie is a classic movie.
Carlos is getting sick on the island.
Sorry about that.
Should we kill him and eat him?
It's allergy season on the island.
It is allergy season all year long.
Yeah, it's the whole thing here.
But yeah, I think also another thing that is pretty much by the book with this movie is character work. You introduce a guy who's obsessed with time. He lives by the clock. He has a job where time is so important. He lives by his pager, his watch, his digital clock, his other clock, anyway. And then he gets stranded on an island where time doesn't matter. Where no modern technology, all of his life.
Very on the
shattered.
nose.
Yes.
I'll say that. It's very on the nose, but it works.
Yeah, it's very it's a very clean writing. I like
the plane crash a lot.
Oh yeah.
It's great.
The technique behind the movie, because it's 2000, but all the effects are great.
It looks perfect. I like seeing the water as they're going down. You're like, oh damn! During that whole part, I'm barely breathing.
Yeah.
As a natural response, my breaths plummet. My heart rate goes through the roof. It's really intense to watch.
I think it's very smartly done because he goes into this
the bathroom,
and then in a cut, it's he's hanging already and it's so visceral.
Yeah.
Also, I think they shot it without movie lighting, so just the fire, all that water thing. So in a water tank, it wasn't because they shot most of the stuff in a location in the Fiji.
But that other stuff was a water tank here.
But yeah, the water tank was here.
Oh,
on a studio water tank, and
I thought it was like one of the famous like ocean ones, like Paramount. But it could just be a tank in.
I don't really know where in terms of which studio they shot. I just know that they lighted the whole scene with just fire.
That's cool.
And then they added some digital like extensions, like it's like 2000, so the CGI work is not like on the nose, and I think that's why it holds up pretty well. I think there's a couple shots that
it's so scary when he's in the water after that.
So good, and there's like snippets and like it has to be a nightmare to shoot something like that.
Yeah, it just looks so scary.
Pool like swallowing water.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, and then I think Tom Hanks, what an icon of that time. I think even today, but he was on fire every single year.
Great in this too.
Yeah, he just, while shooting this movie, he was nominated for Saving Private Ryan.
Oh, that's right.
For an Oscar. And
with Vin Diesel.
Yeah.
And I heard William Broyles got an uncredited rewrite of Saving Private Ryan.
Oh,
really?
Interesting. No, I didn't know that.
That makes sense.
But great writer, great actor. I think this movie, and it has a really good director. I think by this time, because Robert Zemeckis then got really into technology.
Okay.
Because he did all those animated movies or 3D movies that like Beowulf.
Didn't he do Who Framed Roger Rabbit too?
He did do in his Spielberg. So his life is cool because, and we talk about him a little bit when we did Back to the Future. But him and Bob Gale like wrote a bunch of movies. They went to USC. They wrote a bunch of movies together. Spielberg watched their short, liked it, produced his first 2 movies. They were critically successful, but they made no money.
Yeah.
Then Spielberg directed a movie they did, which is the only Spielberg flop, or the biggest flop, 1941.
Okay.
The comedy. It's still like, it's beautifully done, but it doesn't hit.
Okay.
Then finally, so his life is ruined, Robert Zemeckis. He gets a chance. Michael Douglas hires him to do Romance in the Stone as a director. His first hit. That allows him to do Back to the Future. Then Who Framed Roger Rabbit, which I think is an amazing movie.
So good.
And the mix of like the cartoons and I love that movie. Yeah,
it's perfect.
Loved it when I was a kid. And all of that has the Spielberg kind of like stamp.
Yes.
All of those movies. He wanted to break from Spielberg. He wanted to say, hey, can I make it on my own? Because I have this huge godfather like handing me all this help. And then he did, and he went into a more serious. Well, he did also that movie with Meryl Streep and
I don't know,
Bruce Willis and the witching. It's a comedy.
I don't know.
Death Becomes Her is Goldie Hawn, Meryl Streep, and Bruce Willis.
Oh, okay. I've never seen that.
It's a fun movie. And then he went into like a 180 degree, did Forrest Gump.
Okay. Yeah, the 90s for Tom Hanks, I don't think people like can really understand unless you compare him to like a Chris Hemsworth today.
Yeah, I think that's the Toms. Is the time of the Toms. It's like you have Tom Cruise.
And now we're in the Chris's.
And now we're in the Chris's and the Chris Pine and Chris Hemsworth.
You're right, Andres. It was Death Becomes Her.
Yeah.
And then he did Contact.
Oh, he did Contact with Jodie Foster
after Forrest Gump.
I never saw that.
So
what?
Yeah, I never saw Contact.
It's pretty good. Not as I think Forrest Gump was like such a hit, right? It was top movie in the U.S., Oscars and money. And then and then he became a different type of director. He stopped the comedy part and started more like dramas and like sci-fi, like Contact.
Carlos, he did Flight too.
He did Flight.
Oh, I love Flight. One of my favorites.
With Denzel.
Yeah.
But and Flight was him returning to live action because he did Polar Express.
That's right.
Christmas Carol with Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
Beowulf. And all of those movies have all of that.
Oh, Beowulf.
Technology with Angelina Jolie and I forgot who's the main guy.
I didn't love the 2000s for movies. I think they like really picked up after.
I mean, every era has its own theme, but the CGI. I mean, he's in the Spielberg, George Lucas world, like experimenting with
the experiment,
VFX, and like bringing all of that. But I think, the Castaway. I mean, sorry.
Everybody's getting sick. Are we all going to die on this island?
Fuck. Sorry.
On the last day, COVID hits us.
But Castaway, so 2000, right, is the year of Gladiator. That's the one that wins Best Picture. So it only gets nominated. And what's the other big one of 2000? Because Gladiator wins Best Picture, but not director or anything else. He wins Russell Crowe wins.
2000. I'm thinking.
There's another.
I got a crystal skull here, so let me.
Okay, there's another big movie of the 2000 that gets a lot of awards too, but Castaway only gets nominated for Best Actor.
Yeah, because in the end, it's a good movie, but it's not like
it's not a life-changing movie.
Exactly. Like I almost wish there were like.
You got Cider House Rules. You got Green Mile. You got Sixth Sense. Got American Beauty.
American Beauty takes it all.
I guess this is the
Cider House Rules. It doesn't.
Or maybe it's 2001.
Tobey Maguire. So the movie's 2000. The Oscars are 2001. I'm sorry.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that movie with Tobey Maguire won a bunch of awards.
There's so many movies like that with the Oscars where it's like
it's the wrong time for the Oscars because I think the competition, because I remember, I mean, the biggest one we talk about it probably here was the 98, like Weinstein versus Spielberg, where Spielberg refuses to play the game of kind of like bribing the Academy with parties.
But look what happens in history when you refuse to play a game.
Right, because then Shakespeare in Love won. It's a movie that it's an okay movie.
I love that though. That just shows how I like when the world is revealed to be as corrupt as we all assume it is.
Yeah.
I really like those moments. I'm like, see, Spielberg, you thought you were too good for it on your high horse, but on your high horse, you go home without an Oscar now.
Yeah.
So, like, I really like that. It's like,
I mean, it's a little game. Yeah, it's realistic, but it's sad.
I'm on Team Harvey.
So my crystal skull was malfunctioning. I got a crystal meth skull here. Sorry, guys. Aaron Brockovich, Traffic.
This is
Chocolat.
This is the Soderbergh year
time.
who gets nominated for Best Director and Best Picture for both movies.
Traffic is
and he wins for Traffic. I like them both. Aaron Brockovich was great. Traffic was great.
Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon too.
And amazing movie. It's a Sonic classic. It's the biggest Sonic classic movie ever, and it wins the best foreign film, but it's nominated for cinematography, director, and Lee. I mean,
today would it be nominated for Best Picture?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, today was, because back then they didn't do that, and also there was only 5.
Yeah, they're like, there's too many Asians. That's insane.
Yeah, today, I mean, that movie, if it was done today, it would have probably won. And, I think that movie is fantastic.
Wait,
it's
can
beautiful. But yes, tell me about the Asians.
No. In Castaway.
Yeah.
Who would have, like, there would have been, like, like a zany, half Asian, half black guy.
More diverse cast. We would have to recast this. Wilson, by the way, would be white.
Yeah,
exactly.
Be a different shade of color.
Yeah, maybe it will be, different sport. Maybe volleyball is too white.
Oh, yeah.
But definitely, they would have a...
Are you saying there'd be a basketball?
But yeah, I mean, it is a time where you can see it. It's all white. There's no...
I thought that with the dinner, with all the old white hags there.
And it is his family, so that is fine. But the pilot, whoever is there...
That doesn't mean anything anymore, because all the families are like, my kid's trans.
Definitely, it wouldn't be this way. You could see it in everything that is happening right now, how everything looks like United Colors of Benetton, There's no 4 friends in high school that are not. It just has to be a different race and sexuality. Which
is funny. And growing up, we always kept things segregated. So that's interesting. I'm joking.
but today's...
Well, this was 2000. Wasn't this around the time that Jimmy Fallon did blackface?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. It's a different time. It's different time.
Very different time.
Thanks, Bin Laden.
But... I think the movie is a pretty good movie. It's entertaining. He's by himself the whole time and it's not boring. Because we're talking about...
it's Tom Hanks.
It's 2 hours and 25 minutes. Yeah, it is Tom Hanks. And I think his power, I hadn't seen this movie since the theater. And I remember two big things from the theater. One is like the Wilson moment when he...
Were you in Spain?
Wilson, yeah, I was in Spain. And the other one is like I may fire.
Oh,
I love that scene. I think he's so charismatic as an actor.
You know what's funny is I like that scene, but I fast forward to it because I'm like, I've seen it a trillion times.
Yeah, because today would have been a meme or something.
Exactly.
I feel like it would have gone viral for sure.
Oh yeah, like if like Trump says something funny, it's like
I'm fire.
Yeah.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, you should be on SNL.
Yeah.
Spain nightlife.
This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. And we've talked about BetterHelp a few times because we both have benefited from it in the past. The film industry stuff, the entertainment industry in general stuff. I moved here from New York with, a lot of dreams, but it was hard.
Yeah, I've used therapy a lot. Keeping things bottled up isn't healthy for anyone. And I think more than ever during tough times, during turbulent times, that therapy has helped me not get so wrapped up in the nonsense and the noise of the outside world. So it's kept me focused on work, doing my best, being there with my dog, things like that. So it's definitely changed my life for the better.
You guys, if you're thinking about starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule.
And you just have to fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched to the best therapist for you.
Get it off your chest with BetterHelp.
Visit betterhelp.com/SOSVHS today to get 10% off your first month.
That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/SOSVHS. But what I thought it was great throughout the whole movie was that especially the second time, I was trying to say like, how realistic is this? If this were to happen to someone,
I think they did a good job.
And they did a pretty good job. I mean, this island's completely abandoned, right? There's no animals. He doesn't have any encounter with any animal, which I think it will be...
Crab.
Yeah, I'm saying in terms of like any danger there.
Which is surprising. I was
surprised by that.
It's more realistic than like The Martian, where even people in the theater laughed when he goes, and the good thing is I'm a botanist. I'm like, all right, fucking fuck.
Because that movie, the sci-fi part is so amazing and so beautiful. Trying to be realistic, but it goes a little bit like the far-fetchedness of it is a little there. Yeah,
doesn't he leave Mars like he calls it a convertible? It's like, dude, that I don't know if that could happen.
Yes. And this movie has...
Remember, he goes without anything. Yeah. It's insane.
Agree.
Yeah, it's a parachute.
Potatoes, and I mean, even if they research that, it's like too convenient.
Everything has to go right. It's like a perfect world.
Because with Tom Hanks, he has no special skills.
No, and I like how he's chubby and he's very much showing it off.
Yes.
Which it's like this guy...
Gain the weight first.
You know what I thought was, like Helen Hunt's very like cool. Like she's just with like a normal dude. Helen Hunt's so
dad
beautiful
bod.
In this movie. Yeah, he has dad bod, but he's not a dad.
Yeah, but Tom Hanks, I think the reason... He has something. There's always, because he was famous since he was super young.
Just so charismatic.
He's not that attractive type that you would put, leading man. But has something about it that one makes it so relatable because anyone can identify with him.
He sounds like Woody a lot.
Yeah, I mean, he does sound like Woody, and I was wondering like,
you are a toy.
He should have said that to Wilson.
Also, another 90s thing that he does is the Pixar
of course
thing. I think, he's one of those. I think he's another one of those movie stars. He's not a movie star like Tom Cruise in terms of the action-y part, but
which I like that he's not like.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing. It's like Tom Cruise, like he like thinks he's really in the Air Force. Like I heard this about Billy Zane that during the riots,
I think
like,
he could be in the Air Force if he wanted to.
Well, there's no way. He's too old in real life.
He's too cool. You're
right there. You're cool, sir.
He rides all the vehicles himself. He flies the things. If you see him, Tom Cruise running like that, the Taliban will run from him.
But if my dad was like Tom Cruise, I'd be like, Dad, we need to calm down. Just watch TV with me. Like Tom Hanks is more like the normal guy. He's like, I don't want to.
Absolutely.
I'm just acting.
Did you see that clip of Matt Damon explaining a dinner with Tom Cruise? Sorry for this side, but it's really funny. So he says like, hey Tom, how did you do this thing in Mission Impossible? And it's like, let me tell you.
Yeah, exactly.
I talked to my safe guy and he says, it's impossible. I fire him. I hire a new safety guy. And then Matt Damon says like, at that point he lost me. Yeah. Kind of like, I'm not doing that.
1,000,000%.
That's not my life. But he's very intense.
Shopping for safety guys.
He's very dedicated. I love his like work ethic and this commitment to filmmaking. He loves movies. That's what he does. He doesn't come from a rich family. He doesn't come from a
Tom Cruise.
Yeah,
but it makes me feel like it's just so old-fashioned. We don't know anything about him at home.
Right.
So I don't understand him. So as a result, I can't relate. Like
I see. I don't mind. Their personal lives, they don't matter to me.
But it confuses me as to why you would want to be that intense with movies. And then I think about Scientology. I think about all these things. I'm just like, whereas Tom Hanks feels so relatable. Like
he feels a way more normal person, right?
He's a normal son. You know what I mean? Like,
but I mean, I'm not a fan of their personal lives. I don't care much about that. I know that it's part of the star system.
Yeah.
I mean, who's married, who what.
That's how it was growing up, though, too.
I just like them in the thing, and that's it.
Oh no, it's like 24 hours a day with me.
Right.
Like, what do they do at night?
Right.
I have to know where they live.
Yeah.
Like Tom Cruise. When you say his name, I think of Mulholland by Laurel Canyon.
You just look at the mansion with like fortified walls.
Yeah, it's when you see how people live, you can really get a sense of what they're like.
I think like, I don't care much about that, but it is true that Tom Hanks feels like a new Jimmy Stewart, like all-American, relatable person who can do almost any role. And I mean, he was Captain Phillips way years later, right? Like, and he also nailed it. It's
I love that movie.
One of those things where he is just an amazing actor.
I like movies that are like the realistic version of what would happen in this insane scenario.
Yeah.
And it's like, I like that it was a FedEx guy.
Yeah.
That he's just like on the plane on one of the random seats. Like, I like that. And I like that the plane crash was just so beautiful. Like,
yeah, and it felt realistic. It's like a little bit random. You survive because you didn't hit this and that.
Oh, wait, can I just say this?
Yeah.
Giving Helen Hunt the engagement ring wrapped up before.
Yeah.
I think girls wouldn't like that. They'd be like, you gotta wait. Like, what? Like, what? Are you
I know what you mean.
Yeah, I felt like that was like, Robert, do you know what you're
everything? the thing that I like the least about the movie is a little bit like the heavy-handed of characterization of Tom Hanks in the beginning. Because the same way that he does this other thing with his friend is like, oh, your wife is sick. I'm so sorry I cannot be there for you. I would call a doctor and help you. So you want to make sure that he's a nice guy, that he's really,
or
really
that he
good.
has future commitments. They really hammer the future commitments down. The tooth, that was a little on the nose for me.
The tooth, like, well, they're just planting seeds for later.
But the seeds are so obvious, and that's like, maybe one would be fine. And I'm like,
okay,
whatever. Like, I'm not Robert Zemeckis or the writer, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, no, I think that one was subtle enough, the tooth. I think knowing what's going to happen, you see it a couple times, right?
Here's what I love, though, that FedEx plays really well, is that the packages wash up on shore, and that's what he ends up using as tools.
Absolutely.
Which is really cool,
it's a great concept. It's a great concept because it's like, okay, what can people like ship that is also going to help me, but it's not gonna be, there's a full set of weapons or knives or like,
fishing poles,
all the water, it was like random things that people would, VHS tapes.
He had our problems.
Right.
VHS tapes with the Chinese writing. That one time we ordered all those movies from China and they came
right. Indeed, it's like, hey, this is how we build this hut. But I think like all of that was very well done. I've seen it after Castaway many other times. We're like, there's a movie on Netflix now called Alone. No, not Alone.
I think I've seen this one.
It's a Spanish movie where like a girl gets trapped in a container.
I know what you're talking about.
And it's like, the container is a shipping container and it has things that she's going to use to survive. And it's like literally like
it's just,
using this concept. And I think like Skeleton is absolutely right. I think it's a beautiful concept that fits that's what I'm saying. Like it's a perfect ad for FedEx because it doesn't feel imposed. It feels like organic.
You know what's weird about the movie? They're in Russia.
Very strange choice.
But I'll say this in like...
real quick, Nowhere. Is that the
Nowhere, not Alone.
Go ahead, Carl.
Nowhere.
Oh, I like that movie.
Yeah. So yeah, they're Russia. The first scene, because like the first moment in the movie,
a 90s thing. I feel like things were in Russia. Like we were trying to be nice with them or something. Even like one of the Mission Impossibles.
Yeah, but and I thought at first I see this guy coming up a brownstone that looks like, is this the studio? Is this New York? And then they go like 2 blocks over and you see the red square.
I got to say something too that really bothered me. Someone's literally taking down a frame of like Lenin.
Yeah.
Like it just, they just, stopped the USSR and like, taking this down.
Indeed.
Right
there is
now.
a little bit of all of that stuff.
Yeah, like your FedEx guy doesn't really sing.
But it kind of makes sense that, he's establishing an office in a foreign land. Still, like FedEx is so good. It gets there in time. 87 hours.
Yeah, exactly.
And establishes that his life, right? He runs by the clock. He's flying all the time. He lives by his fate.
And he's resourceful. It shows that he's resourceful.
Yeah.
I have a good idea though. Like, why don't we just drone attack that really pretty building in Moscow?
What?
The really pretty villain that you mean in the red square?
Yeah. We should just drone attack it. It's like their one cool thing.
Is the one thing that they have.
Yeah, it's like we should just drone that, right?
I think we should keep the cool, beautiful building.
In case there's a movie.
Right. Like, you don't want to go to Russia and shoot there.
I'm afraid to go. I've never wanted to go to Russia.
You just don't want to leave the States.
No, I would go to like Asia. I've been to Asia and stuff, but Russia just seems like the food would be bad and too cold.
Yeah, and too many Russians.
Yeah, like, what's funny about Russian girls? Russian girls are so hot, but it's cheating. It's like a life hack that is too good to be true.
It's just the movies. When you hear the accent, you think like bad guy. It's too many. They've been the bad guys.
But
for
in
so
LA,
long.
there's a lot of Russian girls, and I'll be like, oh, they look hot. It's like getting like a bootleg movie off the street. It's like it says Norbit on the front, but I don't think it's gonna be Norbit when I play it.
Why are you getting Norbit?
Because I bought Norbit on Pico in Vermont years ago.
You actually bought Norbit?
Yeah, I bought Norbit and Borat, and one of them was porn instead.
Which one? Norbit?
Norbit, unfortunately.
Actually, that I feel like that would be better than
yes.
Norbit.
No, I like Norbit. I wanted to see it for a reason.
But yeah, I mean, I think the Russia thing is that I don't even know how that came to play. I think it's just like, oh, what cool location could we go to that is far and that to do this?
In the snow, like the opposite of an island.
But the movie really, before that, it starts with this like you're in the middle of nowhere. Mm-hmm. There's a crossroad in the middle of nowhere.
Texas.
And this like truck is coming and it's a FedEx truck. Mm-hmm. And even to the most remote location, you get the package. And the package has these wings on it.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
What was that shot? Is it like almost like a snorri cam on the package or what
and
was
then
it?
it feels like, that. Yeah. The package has the camera attached, right? Like a GoPro kind of thing. Like, yeah. Which is, it's not real. And then you follow the package. Is the package point of view from picking him up until he gets to
like in God of War, the bullet.
Yeah.
One of my favorite scenes.
Yeah, it's a point of view of a FedEx package. Elvis soundtrack.
Yeah, very good.
Now we're in Russia, and then he's like setting up that ending too, because Tom Hanks will be at that crossroad, delivering that package that saved his life. It stood with him. He didn't open this package in the 4 years.
Yeah,
and he came back because he's not only committed to life. He's committed to his job, and he delivers
It's a very capitalist ending.
Well, also there's a little bit of hope, right? Because there's a new girl in his life now.
Of course.
Because I think like on one hand it's like, okay, you go through the hardships of the island. Now you adapt. You are a good,
acceptance.
You can hunt or fish, and you can survive. But you still have the dream to go back. And then when you go back, nothing is the same. And you actually don't belong anywhere. You don't
because you died.
Right.
Like you might as well have died. I didn't like that it was like 4 weeks later. I kind of wanted to see the first hour of him getting on the boat.
Yeah.
I thought that would have been cool.
Getting a haircut.
Does he not have like a mom or dad or sister or brother? Because it's like, if I got off the island, I don't think I'd hit up like, Helen Hunt would have been the first 5 people, but it's like.
I feel like because that Christmas dinner, you would assume it's all her family. We don't know what.
Oh yeah, I guess they do go to the house, and that annoying guy's like, "We gotta go golfing now." I'd be like, "I don't want to fucking talk about golfing."
But it is true that there's no family.
Like I was such a loser.
I think that's a movie thing of like simplifying, taking away reality to this simplification. Okay, we've seen his friend at the beginning. We're gonna see his friend now. We saw Helen Hunt at the beginning. So they represent what family would be or whatever.
Moving on.
And they don't go through the realistic thing. Of course, you're gonna call your parents, your brother, your sister, whoever. The moment you get a chance.
An American who went to jail in Thailand. And and like in the 2010s, and when he got out, like the Golden State Warriors had won like 2 championships. And I was like, what the hell? When I left, they were bad.
Yeah.
And like, I wanted that stuff to happen.
Yeah.
I wanted to be like, hey, by the way, you'll never guess what happened to the Twin Towers. You'll never guess. You'll be like, they built another one. Because you should say that.
Technically, the movie happens between 95 and 2000.
God damn it.
No.
Then he'd be like, hey, you'll love this movie, LA Confidential.
Right. Yeah. Indeed. But I agree. I think they did.
Wait a second. Can I just say one thing, though?
Of course.
Yeah, just one more thing.
Yeah.
I think the first thing he would have asked is, what happened with OJ?
You think?
That's what I would have asked.
In 2000, you would remember, because OJ's thing is.
I still watched the
94. I think it was.
No, 94 is the murder. September 95 is the verdict. So they're in court for that whole time. So he goes to the island.
Yeah, I guess he goes to the island in the middle of the trial. Maybe the glove had fit by then.
Wait, no. Actually, if it's Thanksgiving, the verdict may have just come out.
Oh,
but why are they? I know why they're not talking about it, because they're all white.
Right.
Yeah, that's why. Okay, we cracked the case.
I mean, back then, yes.
Yeah, they're like,
not. He might have a Bronco himself.
That should have been the discussion at the table. Hey,
I want to see the Black Castaway, but the same year, and the only difference is the dinner's like, it's just like hectic.
Yeah, the basketball balls.
Yeah.
But so that moment, the moments that you're saying that you would want to see, I think they're super simplified, but they are there, because you see him sleeping on the floor. Mm-hmm.
Simplified though, which I understand why. It's a long movie.
With the light, he had the theme with the light, with his flashlight, and now he's doing the same thing with the lamp.
Looking at her.
How
old is he when he gets to the island?
I would say he's in his 40s, early 40s.
You think?
Yeah.
I think it was the 90s, and so he's supposed to be in his 30s, because everyone, I really think he's in his 30s.
He's a little younger.
He's not married yet.
Yeah.
Oh, but she's divorced. And he's kind of rough on her at dinner. I'm like, if I, girls I've dated, they would have been like, Carlos, I'm fucking out of here. I would have never pulled that.
And he goes, you're a parolee husband. It's like, he was a lawyer, not a parolee. He's just strolling on.
In your right hand. And I felt like all the parents would have laughed at that part in the theater.
Yeah. I think they have one of those relationships. I thought the relationship was real enough to believe that connection. That
Helen Hunt? She's such a good actress.
I mean, they got a big star for a very small role.
Of course.
I think to get that thing across.
She's great in it.
Yeah, so good.
She's so charismatic. There's something about her that really just hits.
Yeah.
And she's, she gets with Mr. Big.
Yeah, which...
Imagine, you get off an island and Mr. Big shows up. I'm like, God damn it.
Yeah, I'm your dentist. The only memory I have of Spain.
Oh, that's so horrible.
And now he's canceled. So Tom Hanks gets the last laugh.
Is Mr. Big canceled?
Yeah, because he wasn't in the new season. They took him out of the new season.
Oh yeah.
Replaced him with Bob.
Yeah, he had some allegations, and but Tom Hanks gets the last laugh.
Yeah, what if like when Tom Hanks gets back from the island, there's like, hey, we have a report from the island. What happened with Wilson? Like,
what happened?
Yeah, what did you do to him? He's suing us now. Spielberg's on the line. We're fucked.
So funny. But yeah, apparently the writer and the people he was with like had a ball, like I don't know if it was a soccer ball or a baseball or a volleyball. But he said that he was alone for so long that he started talking to the ball.
That makes complete sense.
And then they start making jokes and blah, blah, and he started writing all the stuff that everybody was saying, and then say, oh, that was gonna be. They didn't know it was gonna be a plot point, but it became a thing because you need to relate to something.
I think I would have done that because I know like isolation, like you go nuts, like in Japan where it's not 23-1 in their jails. I think it's 24-hour isolation. Like they just figure out ways to like off themselves.
Yeah,
like,
you need some sort of connection. I think like he handles it pretty well for like 4 years by himself.
And I like that transition. It's like he's like an expert now.
He's awesome.
Love it.
It's like you look forward to it if you rewatch it. It's so beautifully
done. It's a perfect. You know, like you see the fish and then the spear.
I like
you think that he did it, but no, the camera tilts up and he's like far away, so he threw it,
insane.
And now he looks like a superhero, right? He's like ripped, thin.
He looks like
looks like Moses too, because
and that's his real hair and beard. That's his real hair and beard.
Oh God, that's wild. Yeah, it looks like Aquaman.
Yeah, exactly.
On Ozempic.
Yeah, on Ozempic. Indeed,
he looks good.
I saw Ozempic ads yesterday during the Yankee game. I was like, gee, but not like a commercial, like behind home plate.
Interesting.
Like they're batting this Ozempic.
They're sponsoring.
Yeah, I'm like, that's wild.
Yeah, that's pretty Ozempic. Yeah, I think. He had to. Well, he said that he ate a lot before. So a lot of it was a little bit of fake weight.
Yeah.
But I mean, he dropped 40 or 50 pounds.
That's just straight up almonds and.
Yeah, he said like he did the diet of the character, so fish, coconuts, and like
that sounds good.
For a year.
But like sushi, I could eat sushi and have coconut water for a year. Oh. That sounds good.
This was before The Machinist.
Yeah. This is before, I mean, I think Christian Bale took it. I think before, there's always been actors that did, like Robert De Niro did.
But Christian Bale did it in an extremely unhealthy way.
Yeah, Christian Bale.
A model, right?
He said Christian Bale said he ate an apple and a can of tuna a day. That's all he ate.
And he went then from that to, what's the David O. Russell movie that he did? Well, he's pretty chubby. It's like, I mean, he is extreme.
Was it The Fighter?
No.
Hustler? Wait, American Hustle.
Yeah, American Hustle. Yeah, and
I didn't like that movie.
And then he went to, in the Batman, where he has to be, I mean, it's a extreme body.
He's like ripped in even the first Batman.
Yeah.
And then he does what Vice... He gains it again.
Exactly. So he has that I guess commitment to that willpower.
Yeah. I think he's like
some people like Hugh Jackman does it, but I think Christian Bale did the extreme version.
Yeah, because Hugh Jackman, it's like, oh, poor you have to look amazing all the time. Like Christian Bale's like going through something.
Yeah. No, Robert De Niro too. Back in the day when he did like from Taxi Driver to Raging Bull.
That's right.
The amount of weight changes.
Yeah, I think Jon Favreau just does it for fun.
Yeah, I read an interview where he was like, no, I was a point in my life where I said, I stopped doing this stuff. It's just, I can't do it anymore.
Yeah,
it makes sense.
It's so funny. It's like, you mean you won't do the one hard thing in your life?
Well, I think
one hard part of your job.
It has to be extremely taxing.
Yeah, of course.
The Beyonce diet, right? Like the water with lemon.
That's very real.
Yeah.
Tom Hanks said he drank a lot of coffee is what worked for him, and that the hardest thing for him was not having French fries.
Interesting.
Oh, yeah.
I could see that.
The 90s were the time of like McDonald's fries, like Al Gore and Bill Clinton.
Yeah.
Like campaigns, like eat like Happy Meals.
It's like, yeah, definitely. But yeah, I don't know. I think there is something in his eyes too through the whole movie. Also shooting in an island, right? So they shoot in an island that is off the Fiji. Coast. Like I think it's an hour and a half. You have to go by boat. It's a virgin island. There's no technology.
They're probably
nothing.
like at the Four Seasons or something because there's
no. There. I mean, they have
these hotels there,
but they have to wake up at 4 a.m, pick up a ferry or a boat, get there and shoot at 7, and then they have little huts that they build there. But they have to bring every single piece of stuff to build there.
Jesus.
The island belongs to like 99, a family of 99, and everybody has to sign off on letting them shoot.
Wow.
And then every single thing has to be brought to the island. And then the weather, the tides, they have to learn all of that. And then they said that a lot of that was incorporated into the movie. Now it rains, okay, let it rain, the wind. And then I thought the visual effects are extremely well done. Mm-hmm. Except for a couple, right? So for example, but there's that moment where he finally gets to the top of that.
I love that part where it's silent for
and he looks around. All of that he's shot in a parking lot.
Oh, that's crazy.
None of that exists. It's like a gigantic matte painting that holds up so well.
Wow, I didn't know that.
They did day for night. For example, the whale thing they did day for night. They're shooting during the day.
Okay.
And then they changed the lighting. The whale is CGI, which it holds up so.
Yeah.
But everything else, I think there's a moment where like. The porta potty thing that becomes his sail. Oh yeah, right. And there's a shot of him like going up.
Yeah,
that he feels a little fake. Mm-hmm. But other than that, I think for a 25 years ago, this looks amazing.
Oh yeah,
that's what I'm wondering if they have to go back to a moment where like they do a little more practical, mixed practical and. I think do the Christopher Nolan thing and do a lot of practical things because it looks cool.
The only the directors like that can do it, I think.
Yeah.
Like because isn't CG like modern technology just so much cheaper?
It's more convenient.
Exactly. So it's only people like Christopher Nolan who do inconvenient things, I feel like.
Yeah, could be, but it just looks cool.
Yeah, of course.
And it's paced so well. This movie is really paced well.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Really, really great pacing.
Yeah.
It goes by pretty quickly. It's a slow movie. It's one of those movies I told you I didn't watch on fast speed because this is a movie that needs to be watched.
Right. It's him by himself like learning. Right. No.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I agree.
And to go back to that Nadav discussion of people taking their shirts off, you were right, Carlos. Here's a 2000s movie, and Tom Hanks has his shirt off a lot.
Yeah. I mean, and this one is for, I think it feels organically.
Oh, yeah.
It feels more organic, but still, yeah.
I miss Nadav.
He's back in Austin. Well,
yeah, I thought this was Nadav for a second. I forgot. We ate Nadav.
But yeah, another thing that the writer said they did, which I think is cool, is like they figured out, they trap a couple fish, they ate it raw and said like, that's disgusting. We cannot do that. It just doesn't feel, so we need fire. And he said that they did the fire like you...
Really?
They did the fire, basically, he said like, we spent 2 days doing the thing and it never worked. So until they figured out how to actually make fire, and then Tom Hanks did it in the way that it was...
so they figured it out there.
They figured it out.
Oh, that's
but I love he's got victories, he's got losses, and it just feels right where it's like, okay, he made fire, but then he cut his hand before that.
Yeah.
He wins some, he loses some, but that's kind of life. And it's like, all right, we feel really accomplished once he does achieve fire,
It's
a very classic hero's journey. With all
survived?
I'll be dead,
Yeah.
Because he tries to kill himself, right? And it's one of those things where I can totally see that, that desperation. Even if you were able to have the skills to survive physically,
still boring.
The mental survival is the most difficult thing.
Yeah, of course.
Because you're day by yourself. There's nothing to do.
Why couldn't he just jump? I wouldn't have hung myself. He was like trying to hang.
The reason why why it doesn't work is because the rope, right, like breaks or whatever. and then he thinks like he will like crash on the ground, break his legs, and be alive. So he's scared that something like that will happen and then put him in a way worse position.
Of course.
But in terms of mental, I don't know if anyone could. I mean, if you could survive that mentally.
And what a great reveal to get us to that place of where he was, in a not a super over expositional way of like, I'm not going back up on that mountain. We see, wait, he pulls up a noose, and then there's a reveal.
It's cool.
It's a great write-in moment. I think it's
afraid of it and stuff, and I think it's like a bond with Wilson where it's like it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
He has Wilson to help him through that moment or like reflect his feelings to Wilson.
Yeah.
Because I believe that his psyche and emotions are like, he's so, like they're never coming out except to Wilson. So he's flooded with emotion.
Yeah.
So like his fear of the mountain makes so much sense. It's fascinating. It's a world where he talks to no one, has no therapy, no nothing. He's going mad.
Indeed. And but the way that we learn, like,
that's
right?
better
So
help.
we know that there's
BetterHelp.
His Wilson was his BetterHelp. If he had BetterHelp, then maybe it would have been better. Well, he could also call after BetterHelp. He could call someone to get rescue.
Code: did you have sex with Wilson? Put it in the air hole.
But okay, so going back, so we know that he knows how to make rope, which is pretty cool. I think that was a great skill that he gets.
Yeah.
And then it's like, he used all the plants to make rope in the thing. Mm-hmm. There is rope somewhere else, but he doesn't want to go there. Mm-hmm. He goes there and says, and we feel, there's a long rope. What's the rope doing that? He's pulling up something. Then you see some sort of like tree in a shape of a human.
Yeah.
And then a noose. And I think that's a great thing because he doesn't tell us anything, but we imagine what happened.
Yeah, of course.
And then, then the exposition gets, in case you missed it, there's enough of those moments. He eventually confesses that to his friend later on. Mm-hmm. But I felt like, it's a subtle way to give us the information that is not,
I think it's already on the nose because I think you wouldn't have made a human. You would have just put something heavy there.
Yeah, he's testing the thing. I think it's in his character of like this type of person. But yeah, I don't know if that raft would have worked, but I think is the most realistic thing I can think of, like with the stuff that he had.
Yeah, he's desperate. So it's like maybe there was like that 1% chance.
Yeah,
he hit it.
And that dichotomy of like he was going to kill himself to now he wants to live, and he's going through this extreme length to get back. So it's nice to bring it back to where he was at his low point of I'm getting out of here this way.
Yeah, it's like he has to be suicidal to hit that like desperation.
Yeah.
Can we say that word? I don't even know if we can.
I think you can.
Okay, I just didn't know.
But and then he gets, in the most amazing and random way, like there's like gigantic container ship, right? That
Captain
he basically,
Phillips is there.
yes,
The world blows up.
Captain indeed. He goes there and
they're like pirate
gets rescued. We miss that part, which I think it would have been a great part.
Yeah, I thought it would have been cool.
They did it in Captain Phillips, which is the moment they get rescued, right? That's when he breaks down. That's his Oscar moment. Is like,
I love that movie so much.
Those 2 minutes at the end, like Oscar. And then he goes to his real life, and now another nightmare starts for him.
Can I just say, I need to say this real quick, which is such a crime that the trailer showed him. It showed the third act. It showed him actually surviving. So if you were to watch the trailer,
of course,
you would see him back. So you would see he'd gone through all this stuff, and you go, he's gonna make it.
The casket line in the trailer. What'd you put in it? We had a funeral.
Interesting.
Yeah, that was in the trailer, I believe.
Yeah, what a crime.
It's definitely like probably something they thought about, and we're like, all right.
It's a part of the industry that is incredibly. They spend so much money and research on these things.
Of course, that's why.
Because the goal is not an artistic one. It's like, hey, how do I get people to buy the tickets? And they do this thing. So Hitchcock or Nolan, the people who have 100% control of their movie, they would make trailers that do not reveal anything, right? Hitchcock would shoot his own thing, or he would do a presentation of his movie and do that, right?
Yeah. So
Nolan, that's very
They're beautiful.
abstract concept trailers that doesn't have enough of a plot.
It's
so
like
you don't.
it's something psychedelic almost. I love trailers like that. But if it's like a company, like a McDonald's version or in a studio,
right? But there's like, hey, if we don't see any hope, people will go. I don't know how they do it. To me, they ruin the trailers ruin the movies most of the time.
They must focus group the hell out of it.
Even like I just saw the trailer for Abigail. I haven't seen Abigail, so I don't know what's gonna happen. But there's a moment in the trailer where what's the actor from? It's a British actor who played Beauty and the Beast.
Emma
Dan Stevens. Stevens.
Okay.
So Dan Stevens is a part of this group of. Have you guys seen Abigail?
I saw it. Yeah.
It's a high concept. This group of people kidnap a girl and they bring it to a house. It's a rich girl, and then you realize, oh no, they are the food for the girl because the girl is a vampire.
Yeah,
and they have to survive the night. One of those fun things. But in the trailer, there's a moment where this guy is full of blood, kicking something down or like stabbing something down, full of blood, and said, "I hate vampires" or something like that.
Like he's the ending.
That's the ending of the movie. You don't put that in the trailer, even if it's a cool shot. To me, that doesn't make sense. Even if I know what is the part of the trope, nobody is gonna go to this movie thinking that the vampires are gonna win.
Of course.
But I agree. I think
don't they focus them?
A lot of studios do that. Yeah.
I mean, they have to. I mean, they focus group. What do you call it? Like jurors. Like you think like
the craziest thing about this business is like, you know, when I made the smaller movies that I made, if you make, let's say you make a $2 or $3 million movie, if you want to put it in the theaters, you have to spend at least $15 to $20 million. So your $3 million movie becomes a $20 million movie.
It's insane.
Now you have to, in order to recover that, to break even, you have to make $23 million, you know? That becomes insane. And for studio movies that spend roughly like 40 to 50% of the budget on top to do the that's why like a movie that could be a failure, even they're, you know, a flop, even they recover $200 million.
It's insane.
I think it's a model that I don't like.
This movie cost $90 million and made over $400 million.
Yes.
Huge success, huge box office success.
Yeah.
I think the models now are speaking of modern movie making models, they're ones that like if a lot of tech companies will invest money and they're not looking to make money back.
Yeah.
So if you see with like Apple TV and stuff and like Prime, that is kind of like blows up the model in itself.
Indeed.
It's fascinating.
That's a great, I mean, I love that model for artistic purposes.
Of course.
Because now you can take any risk. They're not looking, it's a branding theme for
it's like
Apple.
HBO.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's HBO back in the day. HBO now needs the money, so it's becoming more Netflix. And Netflix needs the money, so they produce everything. They don't go through a model like Apple could do whatever they want. They sell enough computers and tech that they don't need the money from the TV.
Same thing with Amazon.
Amazon, the same thing. They don't need the money.
They're all like the smallest. Like, yeah, they don't care.
It's not their business model, and therefore, if it's something successful or not,
Apple has the best picture in Coda.
That has a best picture, which has to hurt a lot to Netflix.
But it's so funny. It's like they don't care. I'm like, that's just like one guy that cares. I'm like, Apple just did that. It's a fuck you.
But it's a branding thing for Apple. It's like all of the shows. They have a lot of prestige shows. Everything they do is very... They do the HBO back in the day model.
Yeah.
Everything they do, you might like it or not, but it's a prestige type of thing.
Interesting.
So... probably economically not. I mean, they got from Spielberg and Tom Hanks did Masters of Air for them.
Yeah.
When before Band of Brothers and what was it? In the Pacific was HBO.
I like the Pacific the most.
I love both of them.
Yeah.
I mean, I was never obsessed with World War II the same way that all their generations are, but I like those things.
I wasn't super into it. I was like,
have you seen the new one, The Masters of Air?
No.
As,
with Awesome
Elvis. Yeah. No, I haven't seen it yet, but it looks great. It's just like I'm a little tired of wars.
Yeah.
But it looks really good.
Hippie fancy.
Yeah.
Yeah, hippie undress.
Wars. Why?
What is it?
I'm looking at the news every day now for like, there's a new thing coming?
Oh, yeah. It's happening.
It's happening soon. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So what's your guys' favorite scene of Castaway?
I mean, for me, I revealed it already. I think the making fire moment, I love that. When because the joy is like going through all the emotions in that moment of like, okay, the kind of the human spirit, what can they accomplish even not knowing anything, and the happiness of something small. Because then when you cut back to his real life, he has a lighter there, right? And it's like, oh wow, how life could be completely different where you're. So I love that moment. But I think there's this full of like great moments, just him. I think Tom Hanks he kills it in this movie.
My favorite is the plane crash. Plane crash, everything about it.
I mean, like, filmmaking wise, that's a great scene. Yeah,
I just thought it was a top tier disaster scene up there with Flight.
Yeah,
like seeing seeing the water as they're going down.
It's so scary.
It's fucking crazy scary. I was just like stressed out watching it.
So well done. I agree. Great scene.
I'm on planes all the time too. So like,
I mean, the fact that he's on a plane immediately after and there's no joke, I felt like I needed a joke there. Because
I was thinking that
like,
too.
Wait a second, now we're on a plane and he's like pretty calm.
Yeah, wouldn't he have like an extreme phobia?
Right, or like, I guess because he survived this whole thing, it wasn't just the plane crash. And what about you, Skeleton? What's your favorite scene?
I liked when he was rowing away from the island and he's feeling sadness from a place that he wanted to escape. Because that island really saved his life, honestly, because he would have been out in the water and drowned. But with Alan Silvestri's score, which we didn't talk about, that beautiful Castaway score. Really good. And it's like, so like Robert Zemeckis and him met early on. And they have worked since Romance in the Stone until today. Every single movie they made together.
Okay.
The same way that Spielberg works with John Williams.
Okay.
Fun fact, because John Williams was working on the new Star Wars while Spielberg was doing he was doing the what's it called, the paper, the one about the Washington Post.
Oh, that's right.
And was doing Ready Player One at the same time. So John Williams can only do one movie. He did the Oscar movie, and for Ready Player One, Alan Silvestri did the score that has that moment with the Zemeckis cue.
I was literally about to say that.
It had so the note. Yeah.
When he gets like some money and he buys it, I was like, I would have got that too.
The Zemeckis cue that
little Chuckies
gets
and stuff.
Yeah. Gets the time back.
I love that movie so much.
Such a cool movie.
Have you read the second?
Yeah, I read both books.
Is it good?
I think, to me, the movie is better than the.
So I read the first one. I just never read the second.
I think he's gonna produce it and not direct it. So
when do you read? When do you have time? Because you have
I haven't read in a long time.
Okay.
I think the last year has been tough to read.
Yeah.
I used to read all the time. And like I disconnect from the screens a little bit and kind of like exercise my imagination. I like to do that.
That when I watch reality TV, I feel like my brain is rotting. And I did it on purpose, but I'm like, okay, I need to some. Yeah. Oh yeah, just I'll like read the news or something. Like I need to get some life in me, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. But bueno, in any case, like a good shout out to Alan Silvestri because he did a great score. And
he did all the Avengers movies.
Yeah.
He did the score for all the Avengers movies.
Yeah, but it's true. Like the most emotional. There's a big emotional score that plays a lot at the end. The Wilson, when he loses Wilson and he's kind of like losing hope. He leaves
so sad.
The how do you call the thing
rowing the canoe thing?
Yeah, what are the oars?
The what?
Oars.
Oars.
He leaves the whores behind.
Yeah, he all these hot mermaids.
He gives them to the ocean, right? Like it's like, I'm not doing this anymore. He lays down. There's like he's crying, I'm sorry, Wilson, right? That moment, which could have been a comedy, it's so dramatic. Of course. And we are engaged in this journey. That's why I think the movie is really good in terms of like how the acting and the directing together like pull us to a moment where like you feel sad that a volleyball ball is on the ocean, right? And the music and that moment that Pete's saying is like great.
I love that.
And Alan Silvestri did Forrest Gump, of course, and that, if you guys remember that score, of course, is iconic. You know? Bum 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 bum. Little feather floating in the wind.
For like a person. Who's
for
it's like
mentally challenged.
Yeah, like the Forrest
someone
Gump.
with different abilities person.
Different abilities. You're making him sound like X-Men.
I know. That's how it is. I think that's the proper terms this time.
That's
Like
so funny.
other abilities or whatever.
Why should people watch Castaway? You know, I was right there with you, Andres. I watched it in the theater when I was 13, 14. Haven't revisited, but I'm so glad I did because it's really great. But why should people watch this movie or revisit it?
I think it's a great acting movie, a one person, one location type of movie where it's so entertaining, so human. You know, there's a great, it's a hopeful movie. Even like the worst possible thing that can happen to you, humans have this ability to like push forward. You know, because even when he goes back to dry land, right, it's another nightmare starts for him, but he has this new outlook at life that, okay, I know something new is gonna happen, and I know I'm gonna be okay.
Oh, that line that he says, "I know what I have to do now."
Yeah.
Just keep breathing.
Just keep
because
breathing.
tomorrow the sun will rise. Who knows what the tide will bring? Beautiful line.
Beautiful line, and it's kind of like encapsulates that the spirit of the movie.
I love that line so much.
I think it's really worth watching. Also, it's very entertaining. It's a great Hollywood movie.
I was about to say it's like a summer movie at the same time. It's a good time. There's something so scary to me about the ocean that this movie really hits hard.
Yeah,
you have that fear.
Yeah,
just like I've always been afraid of like the desert and the ocean, just empty blank spaces
where you're alone.
Yeah, nothing there to remind you of yourself. Like, you don't even know if you exist anymore.
Yeah, and
like,
the thing that makes us humans, I mean, at least for most of us, is those connections with other people that in those places you lose.
Yeah, and also, like, I think people should watch this to watch a masterclass on charismatic acting and, like, just seeing, like, simple premises be done by one of the best actors to ever live.
Yeah, agree.
I just think... cynicism, Tom Hanks has a bulletproof vest against it. Yeah. Like, no one's cynicism can really get through him because he's just doing such a damn good job. Yeah, it's very honest. Yeah, I love it. Like, you can't be in a bad mood watching Tom Hanks be an actor. Right. Like, you just can't. And people like him make me revisit movies. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I think that's a great end for SOS VHS. Yeah. And the current format, not the end of the show. Like everything, who knows what the tide will bring to SOS VHS too. I like that. Yep, that's right. Who knows? Because tomorrow the sun will rise. Yeah. Well, Andres, Hulu, are you really... Spotify. Yeah. We'll take your tide. We'll take your money. Yeah, bring that in. Well, let's let that wash up on shore. Yeah. Andres, are you really leaving us? Just you're gonna try, right? You're gonna try? I'm gonna try. I have my, like I said, my raft ready. You guys tune in every Tuesday now. I poked a hole in it. You did? You sabotaged me? I may have poked a hole in it. I'm sure that I'll be. You guys, but I filled the hole back up. Will be seeing me back. All right, Carlos. Good luck. All right, I'm gonna need it. Thank you. I'll see you soon. Skeleton. Oh, pleasure to meet you. He's leaving. We gotta go get him. Come on, Carlos. Let's go. Let's go get him. Let's go get him. Andres! I'm sorry! Don't do it! I'm sorry, Andres! Andres! No! What's that way? I don't know. Let's get out of here. He's dead. He's dead. All right. I'm gonna go jerk off. See you next week.